Going to check a couple things here. Chat. Gotta have the chat over here. Gotta have the chat. Or else, how am I going to know what anybody's saying? And I've still got the same shirt on as what I had earlier. After my 8-hour stream. I did a little bit of stretching after the game. I think I need to stretch a bit more still. And just, I don't know. I think I just slept on that weekend. But, I think that's better. The music was way too loud. I had to turn that down. So I think it should be good. Let me know if the music is too loud in the background or not. Anyways, as I was saying, I'm just here to completely ramble on, talk about completely random topics. But I'm kind of liking this thing where I've just been talking about random stuff. Just live streaming whatever comes to my mind. So I was thinking about like some of the things that I'm good at, comparing that to some of the things that I'm bad at. Now, one thing I want to get better at and improve on is storytelling. Like trying to tell a story about something that happened, but getting to the point, but also telling details. So I want to get better at that. So some things that I'm not good at, that would be mathematics, sentence structure and everything for like writing stories, reading books, pretty much most of everything that involves schooling I was no good at. I never had that good of grades, and I think anything above like first grade math I struggled with. So it surprises me that I even got my high school diploma, and that I've even gotten to where I am in life. I mean, I think like most of the skills and things that I know I've learned on the job or at the job I was at. I haven't really used much of anything from school that I learned. Most of it I just learned on the job, or it was just things that I taught myself growing up. Yeah, I haven't really used much of anything from school, but I do want to get better at some stuff like mathematics, which could definitely be useful for my job, what I do, and get better at speaking. I think I do okay at speaking. Now, as far as one moment, as far as speaking on a live stream is different than speaking on a recorded video, because I have a topic, like a topic that I want to talk about. I can think about it, for a little bit while I'm drawing or doing something, and then I can record it, edit that, cut out certain parts, and then upload it. But I think streaming has its own benefits, and some things aren't as good. But I do like that it kind of puts me on the spot to say what I'm thinking or talk about what I'm thinking, rather than doing what I usually do, which is just, I always want to think about things deeply, but I think I need to start coming up with answers to things quicker. I think that'll help me too. But I was thinking about how I'm pretty bad at mathematics, and I think we've all come across people that say they're bad at math, and it's kind of like this thing to where they're proud to be bad at math or bad at something, but it's kind of you kind of hear that from a lot of people, where like everybody says, hey, I'm bad at math, but when you tell them the level that you're doing that, like first grade. They're like, what? That's not believable. And then someone asks you, what is the square root of, I don't know, 42 times 19 divided by 16? Or like, let's say if it was 12x plus 13y equals 2x divided by 7y plus x minus 11y. I don't know. I think that's some type of I remember doing that back in I think middle school, but I've never really used anything like that in real life. Like at any job I've had, I've never had to use any of that. Maybe if you get like a job in accounting or something, but most everything that I know is just hands-on, or things that I've just learned from jobs, or I just learned throughout life. I think a lot of things that don't really require a lot of certain skills. It's more of a specific type of thing. Like if you were to learn a whole bunch of things about, let's say you were to learn maybe a specific thing about oil painting, or building computers, or computer programming. That's my alarm for my food for the spaghetti. But like if you learn one thing that's very specific, I mean, you can learn, how to like push yourself and to overcome things, and to believe in yourself and all that. But I think that it would probably kind of be more beneficial to have skills in multiple things than just to be completely only skilled in one thing, because it gives you more options. But I guess it kind of depends on the demand and like the job market and all that stuff. Because let's say you get into something, there's no demand for it, but it's something you're good at. If you're really good at it, and you're like the top 1% or something at that career, or whatever it is that you're pursuing, then you've got a better chance than something that, let's say, is in demand, but everybody's doing it. So you've got more people to compete against, to try to stand out in that, to get a job or a career. But yeah, just kind of some thoughts that I have, things that I was going to talk about. I didn't even really have anything planned for this stream. I didn't really have a drawing planned. I wasn't even sure if I was going to do a drawing for the stream at all. I just turned the camera on, pushed record, started recording, started talking about stuff. And I didn't even change the name of the stream, because it says drawing every day, listen, doodle, and chat. I think I might do maybe a drawing for like 20 minutes later, or 30 minutes or something. But I want to practice just kind of just talking about stuff, I guess, because I've got a lot of things that I think about, things that are in my mind, but I never really put any of it out there. I tend to keep a lot of it to myself. So I don't really, I talk to some people, but not that much. I spend most of my time just kind of keeping my thoughts to myself and just drawing, and that's pretty much all. I think that now it seems that a lot of things in the world, that when people have different views or opinions or thoughts on something, it seems that now, instead of having much of a discussion about stuff, it seems like a lot of people they'll form opinions about something, but they don't take into consideration like maybe the opinions or views of somebody else. Like, let's take something very simple, like it depends, it could be simple for somebody, or but not for someone else. But let's say Something that I would understand is, let's say you had two people that were debating what is more important, abstract art or realism. The person that discusses why they think realism is better. They would say because you learn more hand control of drawing things in the real world that can be beneficial to, say, a career in architecture and design, or maybe designing, something for a business. That is true. And then the person that would debate that says that abstract is better could say that abstract is better because it can be a way for people to do that, to relieve stress, a meditative way, or they could do it to express more creativity rather than being bogged down by the details of everything, of trying to make things precise and perfect to represent what's in the real world. I think both of them are important, and neither would be right or wrong. The same for if you ask somebody what is let me think of an example. What is more important? I guess this will be more like something along physics, like what is more important, space or time, or what is more important, gravity or light? I guess gravity would be more important because without gravity you couldn't have light because stars wouldn't form. So what would be more important, space or time? But I guess there's two different ideas as far as the concept of time. I think one of the things that people have debated is that the idea of time is just a human construct. So, let me see this here. Just reading a message here. People are very oppositional now and defensive for their beliefs, willing. Yeah, I think too often we get, just caught up in taking an opinion or a view of something that we don't ever take in consideration of thinking about again. If I was to just, if I only ever pursued powerlifting and did nothing else, and only stuck with that, and didn't realize the opportunities, the other potential or things that I could potentially do, then I might not realize my potential in those other things. But as far as what I was saying earlier about for space and time, what is more important? But yeah. So hold on a minute. I'm trying to think of 50 things in my head all at once. Okay, so I was talking about the comparisons of whether or not a certain opinion or thought is true or not. Well, an opinion is pretty much just, it would be a thought of something, but it wouldn't mean that it's completely 100% accurate, obviously, because it's if someone was to say, what is the best color? What is the best food? What is the best place to travel to? It's all subjective and depends on the person. So there wouldn't be a wrong or right answer, I guess. Oh, I remember. I had to check my spaghetti real quick. One moment. I'll be back in 30 seconds. the spaghetti is still too hot to eat. I gotta let it cool down for a little bit. Yeah. As far as like a duality of something, it's like saying, let's say you have, like let's say you had to choose between two different things, and you're only given two different options. Like if somebody said, "What do you prefer to only do abstract art or to only do realism? To only watch football or only watch baseball? To do math or English? To do reading or writing? To do sprinting or running? To paint or to draw? To do pretty much any two things that are kind of like the opposite ends. So like abstract, realism, math, English, those different things. Now, what if somebody doesn't like either? You don't really give them the option of choosing something outside of that. So then I think you kind of put things boxed in to make an assertion about it when maybe they're not, the person isn't that way, or they don't have those opinions or thoughts. It's like if somebody asked me, you have no other choice, baseball or football, and then what if I didn't like either? It doesn't really give you, you don't really have a choice then. It's kind of picking between two things you don't care about, if that makes any sense. But do I shock the noodles with cold water so they don't usually no. I never worry about it. I'm not too worried about like when I eat food. I just I'm not too worried or picky about like the texture of food, or as long as the food doesn't taste bad, I'm not too picky. I'm more concerned about the nutritional value of something rather than the flavor or texture of it. As long as food isn't like really like super crunchy, because I always had dental problems most of my life. I don't want to like, I'm not gonna chew on almonds or something. But yeah. Anyways, I think one of the reasons I was bringing up this topic was I was thinking about how like sometimes we might underestimate or overestimate what we're good at, and I think for some people they overestimate what they can achieve, or they're overconfident in what their abilities are, and yet they might actually lack the skills. And you have others that underestimate what they're capable of, but they're just afraid of pushing themselves to achieve that, because maybe they're afraid of putting in the effort and the work. And then you have maybe some other people that might they have a lot of abilities and things, but they just as I said, they don't want to push themselves. And you've got people that they overestimate, like let's say if I was to say in 3 days I'm going to be able to repaint the Mona Lisa. Well, that's not going to happen. First of all, I wouldn't know how to mix the paints. Second of all, I wouldn't even know where to begin. And third of all, I wouldn't know how to prep for it, or what what to get. Should I paint on canvas? Should I paint on wood? If I was to overestimate myself on doing that, then I would always expect that of myself, and there would be too much stress of trying to achieve something that you might end up just doing for the end goal or the reward of what other people think of it, rather than doing it for just enjoying it. I think that it's kind of a bit of both. Maybe you should do stuff that you enjoy. I think that if you can find if you can find something that you're good at that you also enjoy, that should be something that you can pursue as like, a career. If you find something that you're good at, but you don't really enjoy it, you could also still pursue that as a career. But let's say you don't know what you're good at yet. Just try a bunch of different things until you figure that out. But yeah. But for me, one of the things I have trouble with is, I'd say, working memory and math. Pretty much anything that involved school stuff, I was not that good at. I know one year, it was my high school year, I think it was a C in geometry, but in all my other math classes, I got like a 20%. It was pretty bad. And I think the only reason I did good at geometry is because it would be like multiple choice questions, and I would read the multiple choice questions, and then on the multiple choice, like you'd have to like figure out what is the angle of this, of whatever the shape is, and I would first read the answer, or like the answers that you could pick from, and then look at the question, and then I could just like eye it or look at it, make a guess of what the angle is, just from practice from drawing so much. And I think if it wasn't for that, I don't think I would have done that good in geometry. I probably would have gotten like maybe an F, might have gotten a D maybe if I was lucky. But I think that's probably the only reason I did that great in geometry. I mean, I was able to understand it more because I was working with shapes, but the other maths I struggled in, like algebra 1, 2, pre-calculus, and calculus. I never even got to algebra 2. I think I did transitional math, which is like between algebra 1 and 2. Yeah, it seems to be the harmony of the mix, doing what you know and trying new things. Yeah, I do that with drawing, like trying to be creative. Like one way to be more creative is to try new things, have new experiences, or have discussions with people that have different opinions, get different ideas, get different perspectives of something. Because if all that I did was draw squares, you're kind of limited on what you can draw. If the only thing that you can draw is a face, but you don't do anatomy or anything, it kind of limits you and your creative ability. So I think just trying new things and doing something different. Like if I've been in my apartment constantly all the time and I'm feeling like I'm not as creative, I'll go outside or go somewhere, do something different, even if it's not really anything exciting, because I'll just go somewhere and do something, then I come back and I start having some ideas. Geometry is also space answer. Yeah, like I said with geometry, I can make a guess about of like the angle of stuff. Like if I would look at a graph or anything, or it would like give different angles, you have to look at stuff, I would read the answers first. You get like 4 or 5 different answers, and then I would read the question, and I could always guess what the right one is. But if I didn't have multiple choice, I could usually figure it out just by kind of like guessing what it is. But I did better if it was multiple choice on it. Yeah, it's kind of like you said about determining like spatial awareness. Like how far away is this microphone to me? I'm gonna guess it's probably like I think maybe 6.5 inches. Like I'd say like 6.3. That's like a complete guess. What if I was super accurate? Let's see, about measure to here. That's about 6.38. Actually, I might put it on here and measure where I'm at with that. I have a uh, there's like a ruler thing on this across the my drawing table, or the what's it called, cutting mat. So I'm gonna go to the same spot. This is kind of the distance that you're supposed to be from a mic. And it looks like it's about 6.4, 6.5 inches that I am from the mic right here. But I don't know how to do I don't know how to do the math really to do that calculation. Because like, let's say it would depend on what you're measuring from, like the chin, the cheek, or like how do I explain this? Like, if you had like do a math problem to figure out the curvature and all that stuff, I have no idea, but I can make a guess about it. Or let's say if you're driving, let's say you're driving at 50 miles per hour and the person in front of you suddenly has to slam their brakes on, and you've only got so much time to react. But there's also like maybe somebody pulling out like to your left, and you've got to react to that. So you've got multiple things you have to react to, and there's like a certain distance. Like to do that mathematical equation, like if you were to write it on paper, would take quite a while, depending on like the speed that you're traveling, depending on the surface and all this physics and everything else. But then you're just kind of able to do it just instinctively without having to think about it too much. So yeah, there is a lot of math involved in kind of everything that you're doing. Like if I'm drawing, there's a lot of math involved in just creating this pen so that the fluid of the ink flows properly through the print, through this tip of this pen, and the math involved for designing this and cutting the metal to make the nib of the pen so that it fits properly, and then I guess a bit of chemistry to make the ink so that it flows properly, and then kind of combining the chemistry of the ink, and I guess what would be what is it they call in mathematics, like fluid dynamics or something like that. I think that's what it is they would use for kind of figuring out like the viscosity or like the thickness of the ink and how it would flow. But I guess you could just make a bunch of tests and see what works. You could do it that way. Yeah, if only if only it was somehow possible to just like take math that we do every day, like judging the distance between something when we're traveling at like variable speeds. Because I remember those worded questions I got back in high school when I did not like these. It was like the ones that would say Billy gave Bob 2 sandwiches. If Bob had 4 sandwiches and Billy lost 1, but Bob gave 2 to George and George had 12, how many sandwiches would Rick have if Rick had half as many sandwiches as Billy had, if Billy had 3 times as many sandwiches as George, if George ate 1 of Bob's? Like those ones, they drove me crazy because like I would try to read these words of math problems in class, and I didn't know how to, like I'm trying to think of it in my head, and I'm like what? So I'd write it down and be like, Bob, okay, 1. And I would like write it down, and I would still be confused and I had no idea. I had no idea what was going on. I was like, it's like, why do they have to ask these questions? And I remember a time in school when the teacher asked us a question, and the teacher called on me, and I gave this funny response, and I said, or she asked for the answer to it, and I told her, I don't know. You're the teacher. You should know. And it was I think the reaction from the teacher was it was interesting, but the worded math problems always really confused me because it was kind of like it was like combining English, like it was like combining English class with mathematics. Like it was like combining two of the things I was the worst at into one thing that I had to like try to think about and like think of it in my head really hard. And then I'm like, I don't know. I think that would be something where it's like, I don't know, 4x minus 2y or some kind of, I don't know. To this day, I have no idea. But, yeah, those ones that gave me, I had a bit of a struggle with those ones. But I think, like, the highest math I've actually had to use since, school, like high school, I like add, subtract, divide. I think, add, subtract, divide, and percentages. I think I use percentages more than anything. But it's kind of like a close guess. Like, let's say if you're doing something in a job and you want to get the answer to it quickly without having to like write it down or use a calculator. And let's say you have something that cost you $1.80, and let's say you're selling it for $3, and you want to figure out what percentage is the cost compared to the sales. Well, if you know that 2/3 is 66.6, like indefinitely, so 1/3 is 33.3, 2/3 is 66.66666 repeating, then that means you know that it's below 66. So 1.83, you probably, I don't know, like what is that? Like 58%, something like that. This is kind of a guess. I don't know. Let me get the calculator. Let me see what is the percentage in that. See how close I am. 1.58. So if I take 3. Darn it, hold on. No, it was 1.8. 0.6. I was close. I said 0.58. But I probably use percentages more than anything. Like percentages and just basic adding. Yeah. Right now my mind is telling me to eat. I'm hungry. What was I going to say after that? Sometimes it's hard to think about what you want to say when you're hungry. The worst is when you're tired and hungry. You're too hungry to sleep, but too tired to eat. So you make some food, you take a couple bites, and then you just fall asleep. And then you wake up with a plate of food laying on you, and you're like, don't even remember what happened. Yeah. I think I'm gonna go check my food real quick. I think I might try to see. Well, it should be cooled down by now. I will get some food really quick. I'll be back in like maybe 2 minutes, and then I'll be back to completely ramble on about random stuff. So one moment. Hello everybody, I'm back now. I've got this huge thing of spaghetti, and this is how, yes, this is how I'm going to eat it, because I went to put it on my plate and it wouldn't fit in the plate. Well, before I tried to use the plate, I had this little plastic, it was like Tupperware. It wouldn't fit in that, so I tried a bowl. The bowl was too small and the plate was too small. So I was like, I'll just put it in this and eat it out of this. So I guess you could eat cereal out of this. I've seen people eat cereal out of those giant salad mixing bowls. So let's see here. I got some messages. I don't know why, but for some reason I read the message and I read where it said dogs, and for some reason I thought it said frogs. I don't know why. Let's see here. Let me see how this tastes. This is kind of nothing special. It's just spaghetti noodles with tomato sauce with I think it's black beans or something. Yeah, black beans, and I've got garlic, onion, crushed red pepper, sea salt. Pretty boring. I just needed something something easy and convenient. Yeah. Anyways, what's your first time watching me live? I think I've done like I don't know how many live streams I've probably done. Maybe 100, I think, something like that. Now it's another what do they call it? Mukbang, where people eat on video for some reason. They just sit there and eat and don't do anything. I have seen what is called mukbang ASMR. They sit there and eat and there's sounds going on. I don't know if someone could sit there and listen to that. It was kind of like they're just like that would just keep me awake. It wouldn't relax me. Like my videos? Thank you. I'll be making all kinds of random videos. Doodles, drawings, rambling, tutorials, whatever I can come across thinking about making a video on, I'll make a video. I try to make it related to my channel, but I think one of the things I can get away with is that being that art is an expression of self, anything can be a form of art. So if I like add in myself doing, I don't know, type of exercise, then I guess that's a form of art, because you would be like sculpting your body to be like physically more muscular or something. I mean, I guess that makes sense maybe. Yeah, I can tell I've done a lot of drawing and talking today. I'm kind of like stumbling on my words when I go to talk. Whereas this morning I was pretty hyperactive and had all that coffee, but that was like 12 hours ago. Yeah, about 12 hours ago. Maybe I should have, instead of using spaghetti noodles, I should have used like what they call like the goulash noodles or something like that. The first video I watched was actually a video about a dip pen I was looking for. Then I watched some of the exercise videos. It was during last year. Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember what I did a year ago from now. Like, I think like a year ago I did some video where I did like, what was it, like 500 push-ups or something. I don't remember. But and then like last week I was doing some distance running. Then I switched back to lifting again. But my body's still recovering from lifting on Monday, and I didn't work out that hard. I went pretty easy for like 20 minutes, and my body's still trying to recover. But this stream is just nothing special, nothing specific, just me rambling on about stuff while I answer random questions, and also while just random ideas come to me that I talk about while I eat and just do my daily life stuff. Well, sort of daily life stuff. Like right now, like I work, I stream, I draw, I edit video. Well, I haven't been doing as much video editing, but I eat, I draw, I work, I sleep, and I repeat. Um, but yeah, I think that might have something to do with dopamine. With like coffee, drinking coffee, because I noticed that if, and it's not the caffeine itself, because I've tried things that like naturally raise your dopamine, and I'm able to think better, more quickly. So it's not the caffeine, it's the how it raises the dopamine levels. I feel like I can think of things more, a lot quicker. That's good. I'm glad it helped you with motivating you. Exercising and investing in drawing skills. Oh, well, maybe you're like the next Michelangelo, or the next Hieronymus Bosch, or Leonardo da Vinci, or maybe you want to be next Picasso. You just never know. You never know. Maybe you can sing. Maybe you can write music, guitar. There's all kinds of things. Like for me, I never knew that I was good at. I think of something I discovered. I didn't know I was good at watercolor painting. I mean, not good, but like better than what I thought I would be, or what the average person would be starting out. But I haven't practiced or done watercolor in a long time. But I prefer drawing over it. I enjoy it more. Running with a parachute. Yeah, I remember doing that back in high school. I wasn't on the football team. Well, I tried out. I didn't have the grades. Remember, I had straight Fs. I couldn't qualify for any. These gnats won't go away. They still don't go away. Even earlier, when I didn't have any food for like 3 hours, nothing was setting out, there were still gnats. And I poured down my sink all kinds of chemicals and get rid of them, and everything was cleaned, and they still don't go away. But anyways, as far as the parachute, I remember back in middle school and high school, the football team would always have to have like what was called like agility training, or they would do it for like 2 days, and you'd have to have like this parachute thing, and you'd have to run with it, and it was really tough on the days it was really windy, and you had to run with that, and the wind was blowing against you, and it felt like you're moving so fast and sprinting, but you're hardly getting anywhere. I think one of the most difficult things I've ever made myself do when it comes to like sprinting kind of, or agility, is doing at a very steep angle hill sprints uphill on a windy day with a weighted vest and a parachute. No, that was tough. Yeah, I didn't have to do many of those sets of those before I was tired. Used to be good at drawing as a kid, but always copied drawing, but I can't make my own drawings. Striving to find my own art style. You can actually still get better at drawing just by like tracing, because you'll practice the hand and eye coordination. So even if you trace drawings as practice, you can actually still improve and still incorporate that into just getting better at drawings. The same as if you were to, let's say, somebody made a sculpture, or build a computer, or made a program. If you were to still make it the same way as them, or but not selling it, but like let's say you make a copy that's similar to it, that would still show that you had the skill, like the hand-to-eye coordination to draw it the same way. Because let's say if you trace something, the outline, you still got to be able to shade it, because if you've only got the outline of it, it's not going to look very realistic if you're drawing a portrait, if you can't shade. So you can still get better by practicing. If you want to get good at shading and kind of remembering the technique and the overall idea of like the structure of drawing faces, you could still copy them and then do a bunch of practice by doing the shading to make it look realistic. And then since you've already got the shading down because you do so much practice from, let's say you trace, and then you get so good at shading, the only thing you have to get better at or improve is study anatomy and get better at the line art. Because once you're then able to do the line art, the shading is going to be really easy, and you won't really have to think about it. It'll just come to you without you having to really stress about it. Like, kind of like when you learn how to ride a bike or how to drive. Even if you don't do it for a while, once you go back to it, you pick it up pretty quickly. And like, I'm always evolving, and like, as far as a style, I think one of my styles is kind of like organic doodling, sort of, or it's kind of like scribbly, but I could do portraits and stuff. It just depends on my mood or what I want to draw. So yeah, I think that answers the question. Maybe your sketchbook is full of nonsense. Mine too. I don't even know what 95% of it is. It's completely random stuff. Like earlier, this is the one I drew in my last stream, and I don't know what any of it is. Like, I did a drawing where I tried to draw Bob Ross, but I couldn't remember his face. Like, I know what he looks like, but it's different trying to draw it from memory. But I don't know what any of this is, really. I mean, no idea. But I made it. It took me a while to draw it because I was using this pen here, which has really, it's a tiny nib pen, so it takes a while to draw with that one. Just reading email. But yeah, like when I was younger, I know that a lot of people's idea when I was growing up was that art, or to be a good artist, they think of somebody that can draw something hyper realistic, or to draw a portrait realistically, or anatomy, or faces. And I always tried to do that, and that's kind of like what I was focused on doing a lot, or trying to pursue. But when I just kind of stopped worrying or trying to compare myself to like what other people draw, I just start drawing and figuring out what it is that I like to draw. What are some of the things that I'm skilled at with drawing? And then I eventually figured out that I really enjoyed drawing with technical pens, or maybe fountain pens, in my sketchbooks. And I used to just draw on cheap printer paper with like a gel pen or a ballpoint pen. And when I eventually got to where I was using technical pens, and I started drawing in like Moleskine sketchbooks or better paper, that's when I was like, okay, there's something to this. I'm enjoying this. I like the way the line art looks, because I was always really good at doing the shading. Like when I would do portraits and drawing anything with anatomy, I had trouble trying to get the realistic structure of it down. So I started just doing doodling, and because I was good at the shading, I could get the shadows and the contrast and the form, like from light to dark, and the shadows good. But because it was abstract and I was doodling, I didn't have to worry about trying to make the structure of it and the shape perfect, because with abstract or things that are organic or nature, it never has to be perfect. There is no perfection in nature. So I kind of just went with that. I kept drawing and doodling things, and eventually I just came up with like different drawing styles, sort of. But it's always changing depending on what I add to it. Like the drawing I did there, it was kind of organic, but then out of nowhere in the corner I've got a doodle of Bob Ross and just random words. So yeah. But I think one thing I would like to be able to do or get better at is drawing something that's like hyper realistic but also abstract. So I would have to get really good at drawing anatomy, but then taking like drawing figures and like people at different angles with like maybe a different looking faces, like maybe kind of alien, or a different alien looking background, or all kinds of hopefully what I'm saying kind of makes sense. It's kind of combining abstract and realism. Hey, how's it going, Chris? Hopefully I'm pronouncing this right. Enrique? I think it's Enrique. I think the H is silent. It's Enrique. No, I actually have to go to bed pretty soon because I have to get up really early in the morning. Like right now, 7 o'clock for me. Like let's say if somebody normally gets up at 8, let's say that someone gets up at 8 a.m. or 7 a.m. every morning. The average person's 7 a.m. for me, like, or no, the average person's midnight is like my 7 p.m. if that makes any sense, because I have to get up pretty early. Yep, it's just spaghetti, a big old giant thing of it. Yeah, it's like what's the thing they used to make me do in school once? It was some project thing that we had to do. It was I don't know what class it was in, but the teacher said, draw some combination of two animals, or I think the one we had to draw, or it was kind of randomized, and the one that I had, I don't know if I selected it or if I made it up, or if it was already picked, but it was like a lion and a lizard. I don't know, it came out really weird looking, but I guess it's kind of combining realism and abstract, which I guess you would kind of have to have if you're drawing like superhero comic books. You'd have to combine abstract with realism, but also have an understanding of storytelling. I think a lot of people just lose a lot of their creativity as they get older, when they become adults, because we're kind of just structured to just do one thing, never think outside of that, just do the same thing and repeat, and not think creatively or try anything else. ASMR eating. You ever been so hungry that you can't eat fast enough to not be hungry anymore? Let me look that up. What was it, like paintings and stuff of like medieval? Oh yeah, I've seen this before. I remember watching like, I was always into like medieval and well, more so medieval, like Dark Ages and Bronze Age type of stuff. A little bit of Renaissance, but mostly medieval stuff because of like when I used to do a lot of gaming, I was always into like these big battlefield games where it's like I tried to recreate the entire scene from Lord of the Rings and all that. But I noticed that some of the animals and stuff they painted back then was so funny. Like I look at this one, this painting of this fish. It looks so like two-dimensional. Some of these animals. There's one that shows, I think it's like a lion, but it's a guy's head. And there's like no perspective in these drawings from like the medieval times. And all of the, it's like when they draw the faces of animals, they all have that same look to them. It kind of looks like how a kid drew it or something. Let's see, we got it's a combination between a monkey and a bat. And this one's like a combination between a person and an owl. I think what's that popular one? The centaur, minotaur, the one where it's half human, half horse. Hey Levi, welcome back again. You had sushi? I don't think I've ever ate sushi before. Isn't sushi raw fish? Pretty sure it is. I don't know if I would like sushi since I don't like seafood. Well, maybe like. Well, salmon's freshwater fish, right? So maybe I would like if it was salmon. No, that just gave me an idea. Something that I'm not really good at drawing is architecture. What if I start drawing like medieval architectural buildings and stuff? Like maybe redraw some of these creatures in a more realistic way. Because if all I have to redraw is these creatures they have that look very like two-dimensional, like a kid drew it, and I know I can draw draw it probably better than this because it's all like it looks like something I would have drawn when I was like 5. A lot of these animals from the medieval times. Draw a Dark Souls knight helmet. Spelled it wrong. I put helmet. Oh, drawing that would require a lot of shading. A lot of tones. I've never played Dark Souls, but I know that they say that it's like a really, really hard game. Does that game have like different difficulty selection, or is it just like one difficulty? Or I know some games have like it's kind of like this scaling type of difficulty to where the difficulty is set depending on like how you're doing in the game. Isn't wasabi is spicy, isn't it? You know that actually the only time I actually heard of what wasabi was think back in like 2017. I hadn't watched Dragon Ball Z in a long time, so I typed it up online, and there was like I think it was like Dragon Ball Z tournament or whatever. It was like some new series they were putting out. I think it was in 2017 or 2018, and it was one of the characters in it was eating wasabi, I think, and it was spicy, and that's the only reason why I know what wasabi is. If it wasn't for that, then I would have no idea. I have a friend that he can speak a little bit of Japanese, and he's been to Japan before. So he knows a little bit about the culture. I think it would be an interesting place to visit is Japan. What would happen if you're playing Dark Souls and you never upgraded your weapons or anything? Like I know like, in games, let's say the weapons might have a certain... Well, I don't know how it is in Dark Souls because I haven't looked at it, because I know some games will have like critical damage, critical chance, damage, power, speed. There's different attributes to the weapon. So what if you like just didn't upgrade the weapons? Like let's say you were halfway through the game and you quit upgrading your weapons. How far could you get? And like how far would you get if you didn't upgrade your weapons and you just use the same weapon from the beginning of the game? Would it be impossible to beat it because the enemy would re-heal faster than the damage you could do? What is that? It's a type of fish that's dangerous. So you have to like cook it a certain way or something. I think they serve it in Japan. I don't know what it's called though. It's not puffer fish, is it? I don't remember what it was called. Yeah, so I was right. I actually remembered something this time. Have any of you seen, I think it was on the History Channel. I think it was called, was it Modern Marvels or something like that? It talked about like all these different buildings and structures. I remember watching so much of that in the Science Channel. The History Channel and the Science Channel, that for school, because I watched it so much, those two topics I knew a lot about. Like in my science class, they would ask about like what's the speed of light or what's the distance to the moon, and I only knew it from watching it so much. I think if it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't have passed my science classes. I probably would have failed all of them, and I'd still have been in like first grade. Imagine me. There's probably a certain point to where they go away, bugs. They don't pass you forward anymore. Like imagine somebody that is like 30, still in first grade. Like I'm just in this tiny little desk trying to learn. Without armor. I know, like, isn't it in Dark Souls that pretty much if you get hit once, your character's pretty much you have to start over? Yeah, that could be true. Like if you can just parry and roll out of the way, then you can get to the enemy in the game better, and you can avoid the attacks. Being that I know the attacks in the game are pretty devastating. Like you get hit once and the game's over. Like some of those old arcade games or games back in like the 80s or like early 90s. I remember playing those. And what was this one? There was one for, I think it was Atari, and there's one for another one. I can't remember the name of it. But if your character got hit once, you had to start the entire game over. It was pretty annoying. And there was things flying everywhere that you had to avoid. It was pretty difficult. And now there are some games I would play online that, well, one of them is, I used to play World of Warcraft. I think last I played it was 2012. And they started making the game too easy. But I kind of like the single player adventure of the game more so than the group stuff or the group dungeons or group guilds or whatever. And so you couldn't do anything in the game or really upgrade anything unless you were in groups. And so then they started making the game to where it would tell you where to go for everything, for like all the quests and all this, and had markers, and I was like, this is just, it took away the fun out of solving a quest or figuring something out. So I preferred, even though it was more difficult, I preferred having to figure stuff out on my own in the game. Gravel armor is generally the only good armor because of insane hype. Oh, play the whole game without taking a hit? Like, how many hits can the character take in the game, or does it just depend on what you're going against? Like, I'm pretty sure there's bosses in the game that like one hit and like you lose. I remember when I played Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, a friend of mine, he was trying to figure out how to beat the boss. I think it was Ganon was the name of the character in the game, and he couldn't figure out how, like, he would send an attack at you, and then you would like hit it back with a sword. He'd hit it back to you. You'd hit it back with. You'd do it multiple times, and eventually, you would hit it back, and it would hit him, and then the boss would like fall down, and you'd go over and do a couple of attacks, and he would get back up again and do that several times, and he would morph into like this giant monster thing. After you learn PvP, Dark Souls becomes easier. Yeah, that's something I would struggle at. Like people that play first-person games like Call of Duty and all that, or Modern Warfare, they know where all the spawning points are. So when you're playing the game, if you're doing PvP against a group of people that know all the spawning points, and you're with a group of people that's horrible, and you're new to the game, it's pretty much impossible to win. Because I tried online play when I first, well, I only played, I think it was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, and that was way back in 2013, I think. I think it was 2013. That was the only like first-person game like that I played. And I tried to play online, but everybody knew where all the spawning points were. And I was new to the game, and I was like, well, it's impossible to win. Because I would just respawn, my character would just respawn somewhere else again, because they would like, detonate stuff at all the spawning points, and then just wait for my character to respawn. I'm like, there's no point in playing this. Yeah. It'd be really messed up as if like the first boss, you like, if they made it like saying, is there 2 Dark Soul games? I think there is. There's 1 and 2, isn't there? But if they were to make another one, and let's say all the bosses are insanely difficult. Like the first boss, like, will beat you in 1 hit. You've got like the worst armor, everything's horrible. And then you get to the boss at the very end, and you beat him with one hit, and you're like, what? I know there's some bosses in games that are like mini bosses, and they're more difficult than all the main bosses. Like, it doesn't make any sense. I don't think I think isn't Quake, isn't the original one came out in like what, 2000 or the 90s or something? Or am I thinking of something else? If I was to play a first-person game right now, it would be horrible. I did pretty good at the racing games. I played what was it that Need for Speed, Midnight Club, I think it was called. I played those 2. I forget the name of it. It was Midnight Club something, Dub Edition, or I don't remember. But I played Need for Speed a lot too. But I remember like you had these 2 different cars in the game, and the one they had horrible turning, but the best acceleration. I think it was like the Mitsubishi Lancer, and to beat all of my best speeds, instead of like worrying about trying to turn, I would try to turn as much as I could coming around a corner, and just ride the car on the wall, but at full speed, just so I could beat the time, so that I didn't have to worry about like slowing down, and I could always win that way. Quick multiplayer is where it's at. Take skill. 1996. What year did oh, not Diablo, it was let me think of the name. Doom. I don't remember what year that came out. I remember somebody bought it for me. I think in 2003, I think, in 2004. It might have been 2004 or one of those two. It was somewhere between 2003 and 2005. But I think it was 2003 or 2004. I was given like the original Doom, and like everybody was excited about it and everything. Like, I didn't understand, like, at the time when I was playing video games, I was playing the ones that had better graphics. So when I was given this game, I was like, what is this? Why are the graphics so bad? Because I was playing Empire Earth 2, Age of Empires. Well, RuneScape was kind of, graphics weren't that great, but it was pretty fun to play because all the goals and achievements you could try to do. But the graphics for like the original Doom, compared to like what I was playing in 2004, I was like, what is this? Everything's pixelated, but it was pretty fun. And it was, I didn't realize that game was so difficult. Like when I first started, I'm like, oh, this should be pretty easy, you know? And like, I was completely lost at the beginning of the game. I didn't know what was going on. I don't even remember how far I got in the game. I have no idea. I didn't play it that much because I was so horrible at it. And I just went back to playing like those big, like, army building games and everything, like StarCraft, Age of Mythology, Empire Earth. Oh yeah, I heard about that. 9 Inch Nails doing the soundtrack. I think there was some music. I don't remember the name of it, but it was the music that they had for I think Need for Speed or Midnight Club. I was laughing when they started playing that. I was like, I think I was only maybe, I think that was for the Nintendo GameCube I was playing that on. Yeah, it was Nintendo GameCube. That was a Need for Speed game in the Midnight Club one. I was playing that on Nintendo GameCube. And I remember putting that game on, and it had this rap song that was playing, and I was like, what is this? So, oh, Mega Man? Didn't they have Mega Man? I think it was for like Super Nintendo. Let me look this up. What was the other? They had like Dreamcast. What was that other game system they had? Yeah, Mega Man. That was for Super Nintendo. Those Nintendo game systems, like the old ones that are like worth, like people had that were worth like $3,000. Now they're like remaking new ones now. And now the value of them all go down. Oh, they had, I think it was from 9 Inch Nails. It was a song in the game Midnight Club. It was something about bite the hand that feeds you. Now that I think of it, I haven't listened to that band in a long time. The Hand That Feeds. I remember that was my favorite song on there when I played the game. Now this is actually before I never even actually listened to music until I was like 20. I think, yeah, about 20. Because I never had. Um, this is before, like, YouTube wasn't around until 2006. It wasn't like really popular until after that. I never had internet speed to play any YouTube videos because I would try to watch a YouTube video at 144p. It would take hours to load, like 20 seconds. So I couldn't find any music online to listen to. I didn't know what to listen to. I never had any music in like classic rock. And then it was in 2000, before. I think it was in 2000. Yeah, it was 2008. That was when, so I was 18. So it was 18 or 19, 2008, 2009. Might have been 2009. I'm thinking here, I'm trying to remember the years. Because some years just kind of all blend together. I'm trying to remember stuff. It was somewhere between 2008 and 2010 when I started really discovering a lot of music. And I was like, what is all this? I never heard of this on like mainstream radio or nothing. Because I remember turning on the radio and I didn't like how anything sounded. It was just, everything was like classic rock or like some rap or country. And I did not like country music at all, or classic rock. And I started finding all these bands like 9 Inch Nails and these heavy metal bands, and I just would listen to it for many, many hours while drawing and playing RuneScape at the same time. Yeah, I spent a lot of hours doing that. Maybe too many hours playing RuneScape. But I was still trying to be efficient by drawing at the same time. Yeah. As far as video games, that's probably how I found where I found music was like, when I was playing Midnight Club, and the 9 Inch Nails song was playing, "The Hand That Feeds," and then later on in 2009, that song played again, and I liked it. I'm like, where's this from? Because I was never listening to music yet at that point. I mean, real long story short, my childhood was difficult, and then our internet speed was too slow. I had too much going on, so I just never really discovered any music. And what was around, I didn't care for. And so, once I found some of this music, it felt like it was endless. And then I remember I got my first like little MP3 player. I think it was around 2009. And back then I was like, oh, this is so awesome. It's, I could put 100 songs on this. And now it's like, with just a cell phone, you can put, I don't know what, maybe 10,000 songs you could probably fit on there, like 100 gigabytes. I don't know what, I'm not sure what the size of the file size of a song is, but you can fit a lot more in there. But I remember having that, and I would always walk to school. I would listen to music, and I kept discovering all these new bands. I think like at the time back in 2009, that was when that band Bullet for My Valentine was really popular. I liked them, but I don't know, it's kind of like, it was kind of depressing a little bit. How does like the music and everything affect my art? I think it helps me a lot, because like if I listen to a certain song or music or whatever, it'll kind of bring back memories of something, and then it'll give me more ideas. I'll be more inspired, I'll be more motivated, and then I'll start kind of getting more ideas to add into a drawing, and then before I know it, I've made a whole drawing or something. Oh, my neck. What if I just laid in bed? What if I just stream like this? I just look up at the ceiling so my neck doesn't hurt. I'm just like, hey everybody, I can't read the chat. What if I just laid in my bed? I could stream from my phone, but the quality isn't that great. Pentakill album? I'm gonna have to look that up. Cause I don't know what that is. What the? I looked up, it said it's a metal band. And it talks about League of Legends. That's what I typed up. I typed in that and I put music. It says something about League of Legends. I was like, what? Yeah, I just won't do that. What was that stuff Mike Tyson was doing? I know a lot of people that actually injured their neck doing that. It was something he did where he would like roll on his neck and stuff. But I do a couple of exercises to strengthen my neck. But shrugs and deadlifts help me a lot. That like if I do like heavy rack pulls when I'm lifting, that seems to help me quite a bit. What was that game? It came out a couple years ago. It was everybody was disappointed. No Man's Sky. I know in the game they said that you could like be anywhere and play with other players, and there was people that was in the same location, and they couldn't interact with each other. So they kind of like lied about it, I think. So it's a fictional band in a video game. Have you seen? It was years ago. I didn't know what to think about this. It was people that were, I remember more Warcraft and in RuneScape, people that actually hold like in the game. Like they would get married in the game, and I'm like, what is going on? And I remember playing in World of Warcraft, like I ended in RuneScape, they'd be like, we're holding a wedding ceremony. I'm like, what? I was like, what is going on? Or people would have something on my glasses. They would have like only relationships or something on RuneScape, but they never met each other in person or knew what each other looked like. Whatever makes you happy, but me, I was too busy trying to cut down maple trees and magic logs in the game to level up. But yeah. What if they made a like a video game where, let me think of something I can make up. What if they made a video game that was in the Renaissance times, and let's say I'm gonna make this up in the spot. It might not make any sense. What if there's a video game that was like VR, and you had to live the life of Leonardo da Vinci, and the goal of the game was to complete paintings, like to complete all like the big paintings he never did. So you have to like go through the game and survive and like make it through like as an apprentice, and then do the paintings and like collect all the stuff in the game to make the paintings, but also try to survive through the Renaissance times when they had wars and all that. So you got to survive through all that, collect the things during it, make deals with like merchants and stuff like that. What do you think a game like that would be like? Myst type games? I don't know. I've never played that one. I've heard it before. It looks somewhat, sort of like. It looks like a combination between RuneScape, World of Warcraft, and kind of looks like a mix between World of Warcraft, RuneScape, and what's that name? Oh, Dungeon Siege. No, I've never played it before. I don't know. I think, you know, one game I played, but I don't know. I never liked it. Like, let's say video games that are like really mainstream, I end up not really caring for. Like, well, this doesn't count Myst, but I'm pretty sure I'll probably like it because it's more of an adventure game. But let's say games like Call of Duty, like a lot of the new. There's only one that kind of like it was Call of Duty, MW3, but like I never cared for Assassin's Creed or what are some other examples I can think of? I tended to kind of like the type of games to where it's like an RPG, but a lot of times the role-playing games, they always make it like huge multiplayer thing to where I want a single-person adventure with the option to choose multiplayer or not, or like a city building game, or like a game like Empire Earth. So like maybe City Skylines, Empire Earth, Age of Mythology, RuneScape. Some of the racing games are kind of like, pretty much if it's a video game, it's kind of like set in like a medieval time. I like, but I never really cared for those like, what is it called, like steampunk type of games, to where they combine like technology and futuristic stuff during like a medieval time. I don't know. I think Assassin's Creed's kind of set in that time. You liked my hair? I didn't have any hair like a year ago. I shaved it all off. I was bald. I looked. If you can find videos on my channel from a year ago, it was about a year ago in the summer. I think it was like July or August of 2020, and I think like the thumbnails of the video show like a blue sky. That was when I completely shaved my head. What's some other ideas I could give for a video game? What if This is kind of a weird and cheesy one, but what if they made a video game to where it was you were a YouTuber? Like, how would that even work? Well, I guess that incorporate a lot of stuff. Like, you get up in the game, it would kind of be like playing the Sims video game. What if well, every time they make a Sims game, they add like 50 different add-ons, and you got to pay like $50 for each one. So you end up paying like $500 to get the full game. I think it'd be pretty funny if they made the Sims YouTube life, and you create a character, and you select a YouTube path or category. Like how when you go on here, you pick like different categories for a video. Let me find it. Yeah, thanks. I'm probably gonna just keep growing my hair. I don't know how long I'm going to grow it to, but this is probably the longest I've ever had it. And maybe I'll just how would I look if I got dreadlocks or cornrows? Probably not my style. Let's see here. Categories. It's like let's say you had a Sims video game called Sims YouTube, and you had the options of these categories, and when you pick one of these, when you play this, you'll like be able to name stuff. Let's say you had film and animation, auto and vehicles, music, pets and animals, sports, travel and events, gaming, people and blogs, comedy, entertainment, news, how to and style, which is what mine's under, education, science, technology, nonprofit. So yeah, I guess it would be like Sims social media life. they would just make posts online. Though I guess that would be different than Sims YouTube life. Sims social media. They just go on there and make posts all day about how they're angry about everything. That's one reason I had actually gotten rid of social media, was because I would go on there and everybody would be negative all day, and I would try to give constructive criticism or help, and I would see people posting on there that they didn't have time to get stuff done, or everything's so difficult and how the world's over and everything, and I'm just like, I try to give them some positivity, and it was like no matter what I said, they would not see anything in a positive way or be happy, and I would tell them, hey, maybe you could do this or try this, and they would just get angry. So I'd see them posting on there, they don't have time to do this, or time to get work done, or time to go anywhere or do anything, but they would spend their entire day outside of work posting, well, even at work too, posting on social media. And I would just ask, and I'd be like, you spend a lot of time on here, have you considered taking the time that you spend on here and doing something like a goal or something you want to achieve? Or they would say that they didn't have the money to do stuff, and yet they would spend all day just posting on their social media stuff. Like, not social media as in like creating content that you can make income from like ad revenue and stuff, like say on YouTube or Twitch or something, or selling merchandise. It was just making posts that you just type up, and then they'd just be angry, and any positive outlook you gave them, they would just be negative and upset and angry. I'm like, but I don't use it anymore. I'm too busy streaming, drawing, working, and stuff like that. Plus, if I want an actual interaction to talk to somebody, I can just go in here and stream and talk to all of you. Or I can just like talk to people in person. Have your sim take selfies, set up random events. Yeah, it's like Sims, how would I put it? I think if they actually made a Sims social media, I think I just had a really good idea. maybe they should patent this. Maybe I should not tell anybody this secret. But what if? Now I wonder if I'm the first person to have this idea. So what if they had a Sims video game, to where you posted on social media, but what you actually posted in the game was actually posted on social media as a selfie. So they would post a selfie of them playing the Sims game for validation to feel better, and they would post it on social media, and then they're playing the game too, and then like, let's say in the game you would get like bits, or like you would get rewarded in the game for like posting, and so the more that you post or do things, interact with people and socialize, you would get more like bits or in-game bits, to where you can buy new costumes and stuff for your character. Or like, let's say you're playing the game and it's like Sim social media, and you start out and you've got like no phone, no internet, nothing, no electricity, and there's like upgrade to eventually like you go from that to like an old 1990s brick phone, and then you upgrade to a flip phone, and then you have like a smartphone, and then the next thing's like a VR headset or something. Mm-hmm. Inception Sims, like the movie. You know, a lot of people were really confused when they watched that movie. They didn't understand it. It made sense to me, but I guess it's just because it's a weird movie, and the one movies that should be obvious are like these really boring movies that they make me fall asleep, and I completely forget what happens. Or the movies that you watch it for. Let's say it's a movie that's an hour and a half or 2 hours long. Most movies are like what, an hour and a half. Let's say it's an hour and a half movie, and 10 minutes into the movie, you already know how the entire movie is going to end, because it's such like a basic script they have written for you. You're like, oh, I already know what's going to happen. So you're watching, and everything you predicted that was going to happen is happening. And then the movie happens, and then the same thing happens you predicted, and it's like, well, that wasn't exciting. Or they could make Sims, let me think here. Yeah, I think Sims social media would be pretty funny. What if they had like Sims College Life? I don't know if they exist. Make a Sims game to where you play as a character that's in college, and you actually have to do the college work, so you learn it. But your character has to live off of ramen noodles, pizza, and Mountain Dew. Tenant? What is that? Where was... Oh yeah, I found it. I was trying to get back to where my channel was, my main home screen for the video. I was trying to make sure that it was actually putting a thumbnail on this video, unlike the last time. Like this morning, it would not show a thumbnail. I think here in like maybe 5 minutes, I'm gonna probably end the stream and get ready for bed. I'm done. After the stream, I've done a total of 10 hours of streaming today. That might be the most I've ever streamed. Well, I might have streamed longer before, but I've never done this much talking in a stream. Yeah, a virtual school. Most of the things you can learn now, like the schooling, you can learn it online anyways. Even things that are like hands-on, like let's say you had to be a mechanic. Well, I don't know, that would be expensive. I mean, if you had to buy your own parts and everything, like if you had an online school to be a mechanic, how would you even do that? Because you would have to pretty much have an extra vehicle to work on to be able to do it, to learn the hands-on skills and everything. So it would probably, well, I don't know, depends. As expensive as it costs for rent or college dorms and everything, it might end up being the same. It might even be cheaper to buy a whole vehicle and practice on it than it would be to pay for the fees of going to college. So you could just like learn it online and watch videos. Yeah. Virtual avatar. I wonder if people just made that for like big CEO business meetings. They just have that virtual avatar and they have like a Zoom call. I'm like, hey everybody. Like, you make your virtual avatars like all cool and everything, but then people see you in real life and you're like completely opposite of that. Yeah. What would happen if... What if somebody was wearing a VR headset, went to sleep with it on, and then was having maybe a dream or a nightmare or something, okay? But the headset is able to track and process and can see what your mind is seeing in the dream. So whatever state that your mind is in during the dream, or whatever you're seeing or is going on in the dream, what if the VR headset just continued that? So you open your eyes when you wake up and the dream continues in the VR headset. What would your mind do then? What do you think? Like, I wonder if people would just kind of freak out and not know what's going on. It's like you just wake up and you have a dream about something, and then the VR headset continues the dream. That would be kind of weird. Or you have a dream about work and you wake up and the VR headset simulates that you're getting ready for work, but you never go to work. It's 8 o'clock already. That means I started streaming, I think 12 hours ago, but I've been streaming for 10 hours. I've only spent 2 hours today not streaming. That makes the day feel so long. But I think I'm gonna get ready for bed and finish eating my food that I started like almost 2 hours ago. Yeah, they would get caught in a loop and question reality. But I'm gonna finish eating and then get to bed soon, because I have to get up early in the morning. But if I might be able to tomorrow. I don't know what time, but I'll try to do some streaming of drawing and talking about stuff tomorrow. And we'll see. I don't know what I'm gonna talk about. Don't know what I'm gonna draw. But we'll see when we get there. Anyways, thank you all for joining the stream today. I think there's a couple more people on today. I think Enrique was on there, Levi was on there, Chris was on there. So it was Joel, Enrique, Chris, Levi. I think it's like one or two more than usual. But anyways, thank you all for joining, and thank you for the questions and the random topics that we talked about. So I'm gonna get to bed, and we'll see how tomorrow goes, and I'll let you know. So until then, keep doodling, have fun, and think of more questions to ask me. Maybe I can plan some more topics about stuff or things to draw. You never know. Maybe I'll stream myself gaming. I don't know. But anyways, I'll talk to you later, and you all have a good night. See you later. Night, Chris. Nice, Enrique. Good night, Joel. And good night to Levi. See you later.